You're listening to the International Community Radio Network.
Yes, hello, this is Detlev of Wake News Radio, Wake News TV, here in our United We Strike Radio Marathon. And today is the 10th of August 2013, and we are in the middle of our United We Strike Radio Marathon, which takes place every second Saturday in the month, and we're doing this already since 3 years, by the way. So this is a real happening, if you want to, and you will listen to great guests and hosts again today. So we have just finished our first part of this United We Strike Radio Marathon, which takes place usually with a German part, 2 hours in German in the beginning, and we had a very serious topic to discuss today, and I want to brief you on that here during my part of the English-speaking version, which is now starting, and I'm welcoming also all listeners from all over the world who are now tuning in order to listen in English. All right. Not everybody speaks German, I assume, but you're welcome to listen to our archives later on, which you will be able to listen to on our United We Strike Radio, which is then available 24 hours around the clock if you want to. And you can listen to all our broadcasts, which also take place today. Yes, and we have our website, UNITEDWESTRIKE.com, where you can find our schedule for today, and also the respective blogs of our members. So please tune in and get informed on what's happening with our initiative, what's happening in the world. And remember, this initiative was founded by Karen Quinn Tostado and has gathered a lot of attention around the world, and now there are lots of people involved in this initiative, and I'm also part of it. I was with it in the very beginning, and we built here our German part of the initiative, and it's very successful. So it's growing every day, if you want to. So thanks a lot to Karen and everybody else involved. Well, our topic today, and you can read this also on our English website, is Planet X News. During our next couple of hours, let's say 1.5 hours, which we also call the European Round Table, and we'll see whether one or the other will be joining in. Would be great if somebody is around and drops in and gives his or her opinion. Right. Okay, my topic in the beginning was Planet X News, and if you remember, there has been extensive reports during the last years about a planetary body which is part of our sun system in our universe, which is actually coming back to visit also Earth every 3,600 and some years, and bring not only happiness but also destruction. So everybody is very keen on getting this sort of information in order to be prepared to get his or her life ready for anything happening like that. And there are things happening around the world which makes us which made us very curious what is really behind it. And we also know that we are being lied to every second by our officials, by our government, and by big corporations and so forth. And we are in the midst of a so-called crisis, which also is reducing our ability to have freedom as we used to, or how we thought freedom should be. And we also under pressure concerning financial and economic issues. And if you think about the housing especially also in the United States. This is terrible, and it is taking place all over the world. And we also know that there is a group behind this, which we call the dominant insane minority, which are the so-called elites who are ruling the world behind curtains, and which are creating, or which want to create, their new world order, which is suppressing anything or everything, if you want to, and especially our freedoms and our ability to live a life which is decent and which is thought as by our by our nature. Yeah, and Planet X is a so-called general issue. I mean, it definitely is not a body, a planet body, which is entering our system, sun system, which is being discussed in many interviews of people or which are dealing with the subject. And I got over some information recently from Marshall Masters, who is ahead of this initiative, Your Own World, and they are following Planet X news or analysis since many years. And recently they had a publication of photos of this planetary body, which actually seems to be a brown dwarf. And we've had this discussion also on our last marathon, exchanging some information about this. But now I have seen these pictures and these photos, which were taken by a member of this initiative, an American businessman who flew from the US to Chile a few months back, and he actually took a picture about 13,000 feet above ground, and he could photograph 3 bodies next to the sun, which he found peculiar, and they analyzed the pictures and found out that this was a very rare conjunction of Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury. And by analyzing these photos, they discovered a 4th body which was hiding sort of next to the sun. And he explains this very deeply in his video, which he brought up. And you can actually get to all this information also in English on my website, wakenews.net html-planet-x news, or just give in wakenews.net Planet X News, and you will get to the respective website, and you will find all the relevant information here, which I'm discussing during the next a few hours or 1.5 hours with you. And you will find this easily there by looking up the Planet X system, YOWUSA, and there's a YouTube link in there. So please have a look there and look for yourself. And everything which I'm saying now, which I'm discussing now here in this part of the UNITEDWESTRIKE Radio Marathon, should be looked upon as should be looked upon carefully, and you should look it up yourself and prove to yourself whether this is right information or not. And this is not a fear-mongering or anything like that. We just want to inform you because there are certain dates which were meant in some interviews which may matter. And we all know, especially, listeners to our programs and, preppers, if you want to, they are doing what is necessary anyways. I mean, they are preparing for anything which is coming up, and this is actually also purpose of this this talk here in our radio marathon, that we urge you to prepare for anything coming up, and even in Europe. And this is very interesting. In the Federal Republic of Germany, you will find officials who are actually recommending to get prepared for a period of at least 6 weeks to get enough supply and equipment ready and water and so forth in order to survive a possible catastrophe. So this is another hint, apart from what is being discussed with NASA and other officials from the US and other parts of the world, that they seem to expect something coming up. And if you follow the news, you can also question, why is FEMA and DHS, Department of Homeland Security, preparing? Why are they purchasing all the ammunition? Why are they basically, buying whatever is available in terms of survival food and so forth, and survival equipment? This is very strange. And also, why did they really set up the alert for terror alarm worldwide? Why did they withdraw all their personnel from the embassies and consulates in the Near East? Why is this all taking place? And why is Obama, why did he cancel really his appointment with Putin recently? What is really going on? Why are Russian, Chinese, and Israeli forces exercising in the United States, guarding certain areas? Why is this? And there are so many curious informations. Also, if you regard the recent announcement by CIA officials that one should not cross the North Pole, because the ozone is basically disappeared, has disappeared over the North Pole. And we also can identify lots of changes in the Earth which are taking place, which have been taking place. Just recently, we read in the news that there are hundreds of dolphins dying on the east coast of the US in the Atlantic Ocean. So they are, suffering something which is unknown, and there are lots of sinkholes being generated everywhere, which are not being explained by anybody officially. And that is very important by also following the news, which I wanted to bring forward to you. There was an interview made with a so-called whistleblower just recently by two radio stations. One was on Blog Talk Radio, and the other one was on Veritas Radio, with a whistleblower called Patricia Broussard. And she is a supposed ex-military, ex-army person who served in Iraq and suffered contamination by depleted uranium and even enriched uranium, what she claimed, by carrying her M16 and other ammunition and weapons, which she wasn't told that this was part of the game, and she's now suffering here with her health, and this is really very, very, very hard and tough for her. But she is, after her employment with the army, she has been a contractor with several companies and corporations working for working for the U.S. government, the military, and so forth. Okay, I shall give you an excerpt from this interview, especially from the one she gave to the Veritas Radio, which you can also look up in the original on my website, wakenews.net, Planet X News. So listen to her directly. I mean, it's mind-boggling, really. So we'll see. I think this is very important because she's mentioning a few dates which are vital if it's true what she is saying. I mean, we all have experienced lots of false dates and expectations, raised expectations to dates which didn't really turn into a catastrophe. I mean, happily, we are taking this as a mistake or as a false information, possibly because we could still live our lives. But really, if something is on, I mean, we should know about it. And this is meant like this, just sharing information. And she's saying that between end of August and November, all hell will break loose on Earth. And this is due to the second sun, which is coming into, into our sun system closer to us now than any time before. And she says basically, and I'm just taking out a few examples, and you're welcome to listen to her original interview personally by clicking then on the link to the YouTube video. She's saying there will be possibly, I mean, I'm saying possibly, she's very convinced that it's going to take place an earthquake on the west coast of the United States, starting off in Seattle with a 15 on the Richter scale, which is an incredible size earthquake. And this is going to also affect California. And she is saying that it should be expected that the whole of California might break into the sea. This would be an amazing event. And also the microwave impact from this second sun, which is also carrying 7 planets with them, is going to affect Earth tremendously and is also already affecting Mars' surface. So something is really happening, and we're also experiencing a very intensive sun also here in Europe. I mean, this is incredible if you are out there, and I've never experienced this in other years before that like it is today. It is incredible, and you really are getting dizzy after a little while in the sun. Okay. Now she's saying that between the 17th and end of the 17th of August and end of August, there will be an earthquake on the west coast of the United States. And by approaching the Earth, the magnetic field of the Earth will be affected. We will lose our magnetic field around our Earth, which would be directly, involving the A and C waves getting down to us, even C, which is being protected by the Earth's magnetic field currently. So this is going to be a deadly thing. And also, she is saying that this body, this mini sun system, if you want to, will come very close to the Earth and will only be about 0.3 astronomical units away. 1 astronomical unit is the distance between Earth and the Sun. So this is going to be pretty close. Currently, it is supposed, or now we will possibly see this body pretty soon. Usually you couldn't see it because it is not a sun emitting or light emitting body. It is a brown dwarf, and it is not visible for the naked eye. It is just being identified by by the I'm just looking up the right expression to stay on here. By by the heat it is emitting. So you can also only see this by a specific instrument. And this is also very interesting because you can see on some of the pictures which are being distributed in the net currently, you can see actually this body by analyzing the pictures your photographic device is taking, because these pictures can only be made visible by using a software which which is releasing more possibilities. So you can identify it, and some of the videos which you can see on my website there are explaining how this can be done, and you can do it yourself and find out about it. Well, she is also saying that there is only protection, the only protection possible will be if we all are hiding in concrete buildings, protected by the Faraday cage, which is a metal cage, if you want to, or copper, which is protecting then, from the electromagnetic impulse, which may be, destroying everything, all the electric grids which we have, all electronics. Only diesel cars and motors will be running possibly afterwards. If the microwaves are hitting Earth, it might melt even all metal which is around. Also your car, your usual car, which is unprotected, will melt in front of you. And ourselves as humans, we are electric beings as well, with electric current, and this electromagnetic impulse and these microwaves will impact us as people as well, as humans, and we will maybe not even recognize what's happening. We will not get our act together, and we will be like zombies, zombie-like. We always wondered why EPA issued a warning zombies might appear. Maybe it's us unprotected people which will suffer most from this attack from outer space. Okay, this is what she is saying. I'm just, sort of summarizing her findings. If you want to listen to her directly, please look up the interview on Veritas Radio, Patricia Broussard. Yeah, and she is really giving us some insight here, what is possibly happening. And she has made some own photos, and she's pointing out this body, which is also known under the impression of blue bonnet or blue kachina as well. And you can look up the picture on my blog site here on UNITEDWESTRIKE.com, where I have a picture here of this body which she took a picture of. Okay, I mean, this is all information which will be proving itself pretty soon, but as it is pretty soon, I think it is also important to talk about it, and that's why I take the opportunity here in our United We Strike radio marathon. And she's also hinting the possible catastrophes which are coming out of exploding nuclear material from all our nuke energy, which is then also, open to, you cannot cool this any further because everything is depending on electricity. So they will blow up, and also the earthquakes and bodies approaching Earth will heat up the Earth further from the core, and yeah, we will experience lots of volcanoes erupting, and this may eventually lead to this nuclear winter, which we are all familiar with. So this can happen, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Just giving a message here to our colleagues, because if they want to jump into the discussion as we are entering now the European round table, we'll see. So I'm saying, tell me when somebody will come on the show. Yeah, I thought it is very important to share this information with you in the meantime. It's also interesting because not everybody has listened yet to the interview of Patricia Broussard. Maybe you even don't know about her. She's supposed to be a whistleblower. She's been working with, according to her records and to her biography she's giving, she has worked for lots of contractors for the U.S. Government and military, and some of them was for Lockheed, Microsoft as well, related to military and the in-home network and anti-missile programs. She's been involved in the Polaris system. She's been also working on the robots for Fukushima, which were used during the first incidents there in their nuclear facilities, which all blew up. TEPCO is the company which is responsible. Yes, and so she has certain inside knowledge, and she was also reporting about the recent meteorite which was coming down here over Russia. And we all remember these pictures and so forth, and everybody was very puzzled because nobody really expected anything like this happening. And she's actually explaining what is behind this incident. And she's saying that since about 12 years, the U.S. military is working on with laser weapons in space. And they have made several attempts to destroy bodies, larger bodies in our universe, around Earth, and they actually tried it the last time with the body DA214, which is a meteorite, and they attacked it with the laser weapon because they wanted either to destroy it or to put it into another direction. And they didn't manage. They only caught a piece of this meteorite, and some of these, or maybe it was several pieces, came down on Earth, and one above Russia. And Russia was well informed about these activities, not informed by the US, but informed about it happening. And so far, they alerted their forces. And you remember there were reports about nuclear bomber fleets which took up from Russia and basically took off from Russia and basically scrambled and flew over some of the US military installations in the Pacific, if you remember. And also all the Russian army and military was in highest alarm because they were thinking or planning eventually to counterattack against the US. Well, and also currently things are weird, aren't they? I mean, we are also expecting, World War III taking place every minute, but sort of it doesn't really start. I mean, they try to, but in the end, it hasn't really yet started really to become a huge World War III matter yet. And also the financial economic crisis, which nobody really understands why it is taking place, because the explanations are so weird, and the acting of the government, and with the banks, and are so crazy and so corrupt, really, that everybody who is sort of informed about the subject, I can identify this is all a homemade crisis, and this is also exaggerated. So nobody really can believe anything which comes off the mouths of politicians any further, and by that. Lots of people in the world recognize that we are being ruled, really, not by governments, but by banksters, banksters worldwide, which is also one of the topics here in our UNITEDWESTRIKE Radio Marathon reporting, and our guests and so forth are talking about this a lot. Yes, and well, she's continuing here, really, that everybody, all the governments know what's happening. They are expecting something to happen, and we all remember the deserted cities which China built in the midst of their country. Huge cities which are which can take millions of people, which is not a lot in China, by the way, because they have a billion wide population. But nevertheless, I mean, they built huge cities which are deserted, which are not being used really. But for what reason? I mean, they are supposed to expect something, aren't they? All right, so we can learn from her also a very interesting information. I always wondered what this may be. I mean, you all are familiar possibly with this strange object which is built in front of the Vatican. It is a planet-like body made of metal, which is open to one side, and another little planetary body is in there. Either it is flowing into the big one, or it is coming out of it. That is not very clear. And it looks also very technical, metallic wise. And she's explaining that this is basically a symbol or a makeup of a device which has been built by those who are actually living on those planets which are surrounding the second sun, the brown dwarf, which is supposed to be about 10% of the size of the sun. And those 7 bigger planets which are surrounding this brown dwarf are supposed to carry living beings, intelligent life, and the biggest of those 7 planets is about the size of 4 times Jupiter, and Jupiter is our biggest planet in the sun system, which we know of. So this would be a tremendous body if this information is true at all. Okay, I mean, certain skepticism should always be part of the game when we talk about things like that, because we cannot really prove this by ourselves. We rely on information we gather, really. Yeah, and this device is supposed to be a picture or a model of what is being used by those intelligent beings living on those planets, or one of those planets, which they are using since quite some time as a device in order to get to one of or some of the other planets in the sun system, in order to get to their like to Phobos, in order to dig for gold over there. I mean, we know all this Anunnaki story about the Anunnakis, searching for gold on other planets in order to use this for the atmosphere of their own planet, which is, getting colder, in order to prevent from destruction. Okay, whether this story is true at all or not, we don't know. But this is an interesting explanation for this sphere resembling a body, which is as a model, not only in front of the Vatican, but also, on some of the other institutions which are belonging to the New World Order people. Okay, now you cannot. She's saying you cannot see this object through a regular telescope, as this brown dwarf is not light emitting, but it is only microwave emitting. So you need a specific device in order to see this, and the body is also called a blue bonnet or blue kachina. That's also an information which is already well known. Well, and she has made these photos herself because she had an access to an official telescope where she could, get her hands on. And since then, since she took the pictures beginning of August, she's being followed by the government institutions, right? Like many others as well. Okay. And she's also reporting on the Fukushima event, on all the nuclear plutonium, which is, being emitted from this, nuclear facility, which was damaged during the major earthquake in Japan. And since the since the water came in through all the tsunamis. And she was also being questioned about her knowledge about chemtrails by the radio host from Veritas Radio. And she said, well, chemtrails are there for multi-purpose, and one of them is certainly the population reduction, and also they want to emit strontium in the atmosphere in order to protect against the microwave emissions of this second sun as long as they can. And they also want to prevent people from discovering the body once it is visible for us. And this will take place pretty soon, she says, because, once this body is reaching a 0.32 AU distance, all hell will break loose on Earth. And she's also saying that the North Pole is sinking, and there's a sea, which has been created through, down melting or melting of some of the ice. And there's no further ozone above the North Pole, so flying over North Pole is more or less not possible. And, this microwave emitting second sun, is heating up the Earth, and that's why, everything is getting warmer from below. And you can also only photograph this sun by using a thermographic telescope, because it is not emitting any light. And she was being asked since when NASA has knowledge about this body and this sun system, and she said about 50 years ago they gave this information to the governments, and since then basically it has been started to build all the deep underground military bases, and she's also saying that this is now the sixth time that the sun system, according to human knowledge, that this is now coming back here to Earth and bringing lots of change and and destruction, possibly. At least, something is going to be very different afterwards, once this whole thing has come through. And she's not afraid of it because, maybe afraid, but she's not worrying about it because she is actually so sick and ill herself from the poisoning through uranium, that she's also not expecting to survive this event. And she's also saying the asteroid belt is a relic of a body which was being carried with this brown dwarf sun system once, and it destroyed a planet here which was surrounding the sun, and most of the part of this destroyed planet was sucked in by Jupiter, and the other stuff built actually the asteroid belt. Okay, and she's also saying that Earth is not supposed to be part of this sun system, but came in from, was carried in by this second sun, by this brown dwarf sun system, sometime ago. This is information which you can take as it is and try to research yourself. I'm just, giving you the summary of what she said in this interview, which is taking about 2 hours. Now, and she's also saying that NASA is not a government organization or a military organization as such. NASA is a corporation, and it belongs to the New World Order, guys, as many you can find out now just searching by going to the Dun and Bradstreet, international corporation registration format on their website. You can find out easily. And also FEMA. FEMA is not a government organization, as she says. It is also a corporation and belongs to the New World Order. And all the dumps, the deep underground military bases, were built by FEMA and were actually planned to be used for this specific event, which is now happening. And everything around 2012 was just a fake, was just a distraction from the events which are taking place this year, in order, to discredit everybody who was talking about it. All the free-minded people who were expressing their ideas, and who were actually expecting major things happening on the 21st of December 2012. and they try to ridicule them by, this false information which was spreading at that specific time. And she's also saying that the only protection you will have is hiding, at least 30 feet below Earth, covering with Earth, and also having a device, a metallic cave, sort of a Faraday cave available. For instance, she was proposing, to eventually, take a caterpillar and open up the earth and, put in a caravan, a metal caravan, or, something like this, and bury it under 30 feet of dirt and earth, and try to survive there, protecting you possibly against microwaves, which are directly hitting Earth. Well, many people do, commented on this, like this is not very believable, this is not really protecting you. But nevertheless, I mean, she's proposing this, and at least I wanted to mention this. And then she's saying that the microwave bombarding of this second sun, the brown dwarf, is already taking place. I mean, we also follow the reports on the on failures of grids worldwide, especially also in the US. I mean, there were reports recently that 3 major networks, grids, in the US were down. This was in Ohio and Florida and in New Jersey. And even Matrix Media was reporting on this, but basically, mentioning this is due to the weather or due to, crossfires and what have you. I mean, you can follow this. And also the magnetic field is under attack. I mean, this is something which you can follow easily yourself. And she was also mentioning that under the government of Reagan and Clinton, they were actually briefed to report about this event happening now, but they refused. Obviously, the only one who's actually mentioning anything about this was Reagan himself. This famous speech he gave in front of the UN in New York when he was president, that he was saying, well, that the whole world would unite once there was an extraterrestrial threat coming to Earth by, for instance, aliens attacking Earth. And this would be the only way to unite people and to put away their differences and so forth. But we also know that since then we have this Blue Beam project also developed. So who knows what is right and what is not right. So always be careful. Always think of the possibility that this information could also be disinformation. I'm not saying this. I'm just, putting it out there. To think about it. But what happened, and this is also very curious. I mean, EPA increased the levels of any of those destructive energies like a nuclear waste and so forth. So they always increased everything which was possible in order to let the government off reporting about it. And she's also saying that Mars currently is under attack, and she's made some photos of that, and she's also had some of this published on her respective Facebook sites and so forth. And she's also expecting that, that nuclear winter will happen once the destructive forces are hammering around on us here by letting all the nuclear power plants go off, and also the earthquakes, taking place, and releasing power from the volcanoes. This is going to set off any sunlight possible, because then we cannot get to the sun any further, and we all know what is happening after that. And she's also saying that the Earth already has moved, so the influence of this brown dwarf is seemingly so great that the Earth itself as a body has moved. And some people have reported about very curious sightings which they had, and I must admit I have seen this in a similar way. Usually I can see the moon from my window moving to the right from me, in order to once it is setting. And now the other day I had it exactly the other way around, so that it moved to the left. And this was very curious, because I had never seen this. So it looks like something is wrong. I mean, people are reporting or mentioning that the Earth is wobbling because of the power and the influence of this second sun, which is already taking over here in our sun system, because it's approaching us even further. And I've mentioned this in the beginning, that there has been lots of pictures and photo material showing a second sun or a second body next to the sun already. So, and if it's the size of 10% of the sun, we can imagine what this is having, what kind of power this is having. And if it is lightened up, it is only lightened up by the sun itself, because it doesn't have its own light. It doesn't emit any light. It's just emitting microwaves and major microwaves. So, and she's also saying that you could be safe at those places where you have ancient sites, with all these huge and big stones from whatever time they may come from, because they are protecting especially against radioactivity. Well, that's what she's saying. And if you think about it, I mean, the relics which we see, like the pyramids worldwide and so forth, they are from a time when this may have happened as well. And, they were actually left over from those times, and people built them possibly in order to protect something or someone. You never know. So this, sounds plausible. Okay, but you should not hide under or in houses which do have wooden roofs or which are made of wood, because this is not going to protect you. It's only, real stone and concrete, which is giving you any sort of protection against this. All right. And she's also saying that by increasing or by melting of the ice on the poles and also, on the mountains and so forth, the Earth is warming up from below. And there are lots of icebergs. I mean, icebergs themselves, they are just showing up about a third of their mass above the water. Everything else is below the water. So you can imagine how huge those icebergs are. And we've witnessed some of these icebergs breaking from ice masses on the poles. And this is really going to, influence the level of water, which is maybe rising up to 30 meters. You can calculate this yourself in other measures. But 30 meters is huge. It's like it's already breaking all the rules, if you want to, all the protection devices which we have built so far. So lots of parts of the world will be underwater just by that. If you think about the European areas like the Netherlands or northern parts of Europe, which are close to the North Sea or the canal between Great Britain or England and the continent, and also the Atlantic coast and so forth. I mean, lots of places will be just flooded by that. And we can experience this in the Pacific already, because in the Philippines and so forth, the water is rising. The water levels are rising, and lots of areas are underwater, which used to be regular earth and regular ground. Okay, now another thing will happen, and this is also already given as information in lots of predictions and prophecies, and also in the Bible, that there will be 3 days of darkness. How will this happen? Well, if this body is approaching Earth during its travel through our area of our part of the sun system, it will cover, the Earth in a way that there will be an eclipse. And this eclipse may take 3 days. And during this time, you should not go out. You should not expose yourself to any of those microwaves, which will then bombard Earth. And thus you should be very much prepared by enough food, survival equipment, and so forth, and protection for your electric devices, which you may use afterwards, like batteries and so forth. And and this those 3 days will then be basically the final proof of something is happening, right? So if that's gonna happen, between end of August and November this year, we will all experience it, or maybe we will not survive it. I don't know, but we should be prepared. Yeah, nevertheless, she is also talking about the Gulf of Mexico, that this is actually a caldera. A caldera is a huge, massive volcano, earth volcano. And, once this goes up, the world is in destruction. I mean, naturally. And it's methane hydrate, which is, on the floor of the Gulf of Mexico, which is now in a solid form. And we all remember the BP oil catastrophe, which took place and is still, in place. And they try to get down to to this volcano, to this caldera, in order to look for whatever they were looking for. And but this is, when it is heating up, it is going to become gas. And this gas is highly explosive. So once this is going to go off, you can imagine what kind of catastrophe this is giving us on top of this. On top of this, and you're also familiar with the fracking, which is taking place all over the world. I mean, especially in the U.S. I mean, this is it's not even a Swiss cheese, with all the holes in there. it's it's even worse. I mean, all over the place there has been fracking taking place, and also in Europe and everywhere. Everybody's trying to fracking for gas and what have you, destroying the earth cover like mad. I mean, this is incredible. They are all insane. Can you imagine? Now, this is also then, backfiring for the so-called elite, because once they are down there in the dumps, in the deep underground military bases or whatever you call those caves down there, it is also, a trap. Because once those huge earthquakes will go off, like a 15, can you imagine? This is going to destroy everything which was known, and it was also compress and everything which is built down there. I mean, you can be sure of that nobody down there is going to be to survive this. And if somebody survives this, they will never come up the surface again, most probably. Okay. But we don't know. I mean, we will see what's coming off, but that's her prediction. And why is she, urging to those dates between end of August and November? It is also because of the activities taking place by all the officials. I mean, we've been talking about this. I mean, FEMA and DHS and other official bodies, whether they are government or not, or whether they're corporations or not, doesn't matter, but they were purchasing all ammunition possible. I mean, with everything they had. And they also placed orders with a 24 delivery notice to all those producers of survival food and what have you. I mean, emergency kits. And so they are actually preparing for something also since quite some time. And they definitely don't want us to get access to that. I mean, they just want this for themselves, whether it's continuity of government or continuity of New World Order. It's definitely not for our benefit, you can imagine. And but she's giving also an advice. I mean, everybody who is aware and conscious of things happening and who are able to do it, and who have already prepared since quite some time, whether you call them preppers or not, or just regular people who are aware of things going on. She's just giving the advice not to talk about where you hide, where you have all your storage, where you have all your supplies stored, and so forth, because that is, you will be then a target of those who have not prepared, and of people, who are, laughing about you today, but will then steal from you and even murder you once they are suffering. And especially when they have children. I mean, they are going to do everything in order to keep them alive, which is a natural instinct, right? But you should be very careful in giving your information to somebody else, and should be alarmed through this information. So keep this in mind. And and then you should definitely try to get up to higher levels because of the floods and the tsunamis, which will be taking place. I mean, we all know this scenario. It is nothing new for all those who have been into this topic all the time and are preparing since quite some time. But you should check everything. I mean, you should check out whether your material is up to date, and all your supplies, and maybe get some stuff which you're still which you would like to add to your prepping. And as long as your money still is buying some and there is still stuff available, well, go ahead. I mean, do it, and look for possibilities to move up to the mountains, and maybe find even caves up there on the hills someplace, but because caves under the sea level then will not do the purpose. I mean, they will basically be a trap. I mean, you should go up someplace. Yes, and she's also informing us about the missing ozone over the North Pole, and nobody is allowed to fly, and nobody is flying there anymore because it is difficult for for planes to survive that, and especially pilots and guests and people, you know, using planes. They are currently exposed to incredible amounts of, nuclear waste, which is, around the world through this Fukushima incident and others. And if you are, using those planes, you are getting your oxygen through, they are filtering this or taking this out of their surrounding air. So they're taking it off from outside the plane. And, with that, they are actually sucking in also the nuke material. So this is very dangerous, and they are really, suffering. I've never seen pilots which are so old or getting that old. So they are basically under life threat. Okay. Yeah. Then, well, she actually says something which is alarming. I mean, I don't know whether it's true. And you should be very careful, in taking this one for one, and without, plausible checks and researching. And please listen to her originally in her video, in the interviews she gave. And, she's actually claiming that as of end of August, we will all die if we don't hide and if we don't protect against the microwave influence. Well, this is tough stuff, I know, but predictions are always very difficult. And if you listen to this, in December 2013, and everybody is still alive and happy, and then look at it as as an attempt to warn you, give you a warning of somebody who may be right. And if she's not right, well, then, we had the opportunity to check everything and, get awareness of a possible situation like this. So we know the next time, okay, whether it takes place or not. And you will see this when we are on air the second Saturday of December with our United We Strike Radio Marathon. Everything went fine. Okay, and she's also giving some hints here, to build up, to reconstruct an electric grid, it needs about 10 years. So in the meantime, there will be Stone Age situations likely. And, not many people will survive this microwave attack and all other things happening. So be prepared for a rough time, roller coaster time. And if you survive such an event, you have to be pretty strong and pretty inventive and pretty smart to do so. And, well, maybe you're then one of the lucky ones who will build up the new world, but not in the new world order fashion, but also, thinking of a better life in a better world. Okay, so please keep this in mind if you will be one of those surviving this event once it's happening. Again, she's also giving the information which we are also aware of, the smart meters. Those are devices which can be used for remotely control the usage of electric devices or electricity, and they can just shut this down. And it's also meant as a mind control device. We all know this. And she's also saying that most possibly only diesel engines will be usable during the or after this impact. So maybe that's the reason why there are lots of old military trucks stored from Russia. Somebody photographed this and filmed this a few years ago. They might be of a technique which then still can be used, possibly. Okay, don't know. Yeah, and she's also informing us, I don't know whether I mentioned this early on, but I repeat it here. Russian, Israeli, and Chinese troops are controlling, the areas where the elites will, get into hiding in front of all those deep underground military bases. You will find those troops, they are happy to shoot every other nationality easily. So they are going to shoot anybody else who's trying to get into one of those deep underground places or any of those military installations. So they will be, that's her assumption. That's what she says. Okay. And she also says and mentions this, that the police brutality, which we can identify, all the time, all over the world, by the way, is due to training through Israeli forces. So Israeli trainers are training the police forces around the world. And, we all know how they act in their country, against Palestinian people and so forth. Okay. Yeah, and she said that all troops abroad are supposed to be withdrawn and are supposed to come back. And she's also mentioning that there are about 80 deep underground military bases in the US alone and 184 deep underground military bases worldwide. Well, that's quite an amount, isn't it? And she's also mentioning that in Denver there will be a headquarters of the elites, and we all know that from all the former reporting. And she's also mentioning that the Queen of England, the Windsor Queen, has, as one of the major landowners in the world, owns lots of land in Denver. And she's going to be transported to this place. And we all remember that there has been an exercise taking place recently, I think about 6 or 8 weeks ago, here in Spain, with 350 huge air transport carriers, controlled by the NATO. And also American people were attending this exercise, and they were training, transporting, huge amounts of whatever. They don't tell us, do they? But we can deduct from that they have been training something. You could use this transportation facility for lots of means, but it makes sense now that they may transport all the elites and what have you, important things from one place to some of the dumps and what have you. Okay, we don't know. At least, we know that all those crises which are taking place in the world, the financial, the economic crisis, and and the World War III thing and so forth and what have you, all these fourth flag terror attacks only have the purpose to distract us from the real issues. That was also my initial, topic when I started my internet radio show in German, 1st of March 2011. When I started my show, then, my topic was, a pole shift, which was expected then already. And also that behind all those international activities, there is one common threat, and this was supposed to be the Planet X. At that time, we were not thinking of a brown dwarf, but rather of a planet. But things have developed, and you can see this, this sun system. Look it up, all the pictures and videos and so forth. Yes, and so all these crises could be only a distraction in order not to let us know what is really happening. Because if everybody knew, there would be panic worldwide, and this panic is nothing they want to have, because that would basically bring their life into risk, and they are fearing that we could enter their dumps or what have you, all their supplies and so forth. So they also use everything possible to distract us from looking up into the skies. That's why all the chemtrails are being sprayed, in order to distract us and not let us have a clear view on what is happening in the skies. Okay, so she's also mentioning a device which is a hydrogen generator, which could also supply you with oxygen. And that would be basically the best device to use as a generator, because it's generating this oxygen as well. So you could store this and make use of it once you have the need for that. Either you bury it, a trailer or a caravan, or your bunker or what have you. Okay, so batteries should be kept in a metal cage or in a Faraday cage, and or copper protecting it. And yes, let me check here my my notes. And she's also saying that it is not the raised water level which is alarming by itself, with 30 meters increased water level, but it is also the tsunamis which will take place, and those tsunamis will be incredibly strong and high, and this will be the major threat actually, because she's saying they will be huge, up to a few hundred meters, maybe even more, and they will be incredibly fast once the Earth is standing still. So that could be 1,000 miles per hour strong. It's an incredible force which is taking place. I don't know whether I could survive this myself. I'm wondering. Okay, let's all hope it is not going to take place, or in another way, possibly. And let's hope this is false information or disinformation. But nevertheless, we should keep this in mind, that this is a possibility, and preparing is never wrong. And she's also giving this information. I don't know whether anybody of you can confirm this, that there will be, or no, that they have moved. The US have moved their nuclear submarines to the Californian coast because there is an underground entrance under the sea to their dumps, to their deep underground military bases, where they can actually hold whole ships and whole fleets. We've seen those pictures in videos already reporting about this. Okay. So, I thought this is an interesting information, apart from, whether it is going to take place. We will know pretty soon, and we can then judge whether this was right or not. At least, I wanted to share this information with you. If you had not yet been able to listen to Patricia Broussard's interviews, I urge you to do so. And you will find those links to these videos and all other information which I have sort of scratched on the surface, because there are hours of information in there which you should please research yourself and make your own decision on what is true and what is not true, or what is plausible and what is not, by visiting my website wakenews.net, Planet X News. Just put it into a search engine, and you will get to it. And you'll find all the relevant information. Also, if you're interested in survival gear and survival techniques and so forth, I've also put a link there. Prepare Yourself Survival Rucksack 2012. It is still called 2012. But if you push that button, you also get to the English part of it. You can click then on the English part, and you will be able to read everything in English as well. So, we've done some preparations already in this. There are lots of other links which you can use and get your first impression on what we are suggesting. But there are lots of information also available on the net, and you're welcome to go through this. Now, we are in the midst of our United We Strike Radio Marathon, and I'm Detlev of Wake News Radio, Wake News TV, reporting here from Switzerland, from Europe. And I've taken all time of our European Roundtable to just discuss this matter. Hopefully the others are not disappointed. Yeah, but maybe the others are already preparing, are already hiding in the hills. I don't know. Well, we will know pretty soon. And, as serious as these informations are, and we've been discussing similar situations already quite a few times. So we are sort of, I guess, prepared to take it as it is. Maybe it is a chance also for our spiritual development. So we will, it's the most interesting time we're living in. So, at least it's better than a World War III, I guess, because at least those are forces from outside, putting pressure on us, and it's not human beings destroying each other, because that is even worse, isn't it? I mean, from that point of view. But we always say, there will be life going on. And if you believe in this, I mean, the soul lives forever, and our Creator is definitely taking care of us, and we will also, be part of it, because we are part of it, of creation. And we'll see what comes up. Okay, I'm about to have a look here from our timetable. Let's see what is coming up next. I mean, you can have a look at our timetable, our schedule for today, by going to our website, UNITEDWESTRIKE.com, and just click on UWS Radio and Chat button on top of the page, and scroll down a little, and you will get our United We Strike Radio Marathon schedule for August 2013. Yes, and we'll see what comes off here. We have, we should have Neil Foster actually coming up pretty soon. Let's see whether this works. Well, whatever comes up, we will see whether this comes up. I'm just giving a note here to Matt Navarro, who's in charge of the marathon programming and scheduling. I mean, we all are involved, obviously. And I'll ask him if he wants to come in. If he wants to, let me see. Hi, Matt. If you want to come in, let me know. Yeah. We are producing here out of Switzerland today in the first part of our radio marathon. and we will be switching later on to our colleagues in Ireland. And he's actually then taking over for the second part, and then we will move to the US, from where Gary is going to take over later on. We also split our forces here into, several production teams because of the time zones involved. So everybody has the opportunity to do the shows during daytime, right? But we also had shows on where we had lots of, over hours, if you want to. But we do this non-commercially, by the way. We're all involved in our own projects, but here in UNITEDWESTRIKE, we're doing this completely voluntarily. And we will be, we will be sort of trying to inform you about what we have, and giving you some information and advice what you can do, and to give you some topics to think about. But what we really want with our UNITEDWESTRIKE initiative is to make a difference, because we can only change things. We can only change things to the better if we are active ourselves. And how can you be active yourself? You just have to, react the right way to what is happening. I mean, the cruel system which is put upon us, which we call the New World Order system, or the system in the short form, we can only do something against this, because this is all ruled by banksters, by their debt-based fiat currency, which is sort of the new god, the Mammon god, if you want to, which they all praise, and which is a false god, obviously. You can only, try to make a difference if you boycott this system by withdrawing your support for this system. Don't buy, don't comply, ask why is what we are trying to, spread around the world. And the world is all of us, right? And everybody should be part of this, and there are lots of initiatives and activities, also demonstrations in the streets. But if you go into the streets, you are basically facing chipped police people, chipped security forces or military forces, which only have one purpose. They are protecting the banksters. For whatever reason, they do this. Either they are no human any further. I mean, they are chipped, and the chipping basically, leads them to act the way they do. They are being mind controlled. They are being brainwashed, because that's their only protection against us. They are only in a very, very low minority. Maybe those are, a few hundred thousands with all the families. And they are basically bribing and corrupting everything which you call government and corporation and so forth in controlling us. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the system. And, by influencing those forces, I mean, that's also, we all know. They are trying to disarm us in order so we cannot defend ourselves. I mean, that's the only purpose behind this disarmament policies. And they were successful by, using their matrix media purpose or matrix media corporation power in order to brainwash everybody, make plausible statements, by saying, if nobody owns a gun, no more crime is going to happen. But this is all rubbish. I mean, if you look at all these states and areas where there's 100% gun control, like in New York City or in Chicago or so, I mean, those are cities and areas where the crime rates are the highest in the country, in the US. I mean, how can you prove that 100% gun control is going to work? I mean, come on. I mean, this is all propaganda, isn't it? There were times when everybody was able to defend him or herself against any threats from outside and inside. And those times have gone. I mean, they try to illegalize the possession of weapons and defending yourself only for one purpose, in order to rule over you, to disarm you against their criminal activities. And if they just don't want you to save yourselves, facing such a catastrophe which is going to take place, according to the whistleblower, which I just summarized in the last couple of hours, or all these other people who are reporting about something coming inbound and making the world another world as we used to have it. I mean, they definitely want to stay in power or be the only ones surviving this catastrophe in order to set up their new world order afterwards. But we all know that the universe, the creator, God, will judge this himself or herself, and God will take this into his hands and make his choice. That's my point of view. If you want to share this, fine. If you have another view of things happening, that is also fine. I mean, everything is also always a thing of your own point of view and your own consciousness you're getting and you're gaining. And you will make your experiences. We all make our experiences. And if that is true, that we've been here a few times, possibly before that, this now may be our chance to get to the next level, which is necessary in order to get everything back in order. Let's see. Okay, the most important thing is always trust in things, in good things happening, trust in love, trust in peace, and trust in loving your family and your people around you, and things will work out. That's my way of living nowadays. I used to be in a different situation once, part of the matrix, and this hasn't worked. And I think it's only this way how you can get on. Okay, let's have a little break here, and I'll see whether I can put in somebody else, and we will be listening here to Tommy Truther's United We Strike. Tommy Truther has been one of our, supporters from the very beginning, and he's also a musician, and he's created this great song, United We Strike, for our movement and our initiative. And we all encourage, everybody listening who is a musician or who's an artist or a producer or whatever, to send in your music here to our station. You can contact me here at radio@wakenews.net. We also have a Wake News music channel radio stream, which is running 24 hours a day. 7 days a week, fortunately 365 days a year. We'll see how far we get. And we're also only playing music of people who are supporting the United We Strike and Awake News initiatives. And we can put you on there, and especially if you have music which is not being played in the Matrix Media, and which is also free of rights of third parties, which is also important because we use some of this at YouTube and so forth. So please stay tuned, listen to our music, and if you have something which you want to dedicate to us here, or if you want to put this into our program, you're welcome to. My name is Detlev of Wake News Radio, Wake News TV, and we'll see each other. We'll go into a quick break, and we'll be right back. So we're on the United We Strike Radio Marathon, August 10th, 2013, with hot topics. So
join UNITEDWESTRIKE.com radio on the second Saturday of every month for our live international radio marathon. Don't buy, don't comply, ask why.